Look like we're live on YouTube.
Yeah. It's now live stream. All right, cool. Hold on. That's it. Hello and welcome to the Lost Confederacy channel. This is week 8 of the 13-week fiscal program of recovery for American prisoners of war. Today you have myself, Chief Biko. As always, we have Chief Alligator as well as Chief Quietwater. And as always, we focus more so on that first letter in the acronym APOW, which is American. Today, I will start off with this week's American Inventor. I have a good one, especially if you're on the East Coast, really pretty much anywhere. Kind of cold outside, so we have to definitely credit this American Inventor for heating up the house. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen. In this week's American Inventor, we have Miss Alice H. Parker. Alice H. Parker, and she is accredited for the heating furnace. So for the heating furnace. She was born in 1895, Morristown, New Jersey. They have her death date in 1920, but it's not quite sure. Couldn't really find a accurate or exact death date for her. But I will go ahead and highlight some of these photos. So again, this is the heating furnace. And as you see here, this is pretty much just two figures that I will be showing you of how this was used to heat up a home. So instead of just relying on a fireplace or anything like that, actually came out and invented something that would actually heat up the entire home here. And this is from Alice H. Parker, and that patent number is 1325905, and that was granted or approved on December 23rd, 1919. So again,
can you state that patent number again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, patent number 1325905, and it was granted on December 23rd, 1919. And this is from Alice H. Parker. And as far as I know, her family does not reap any residual income or any benefits from this invention. All right. Next, we will have Chief Quietwater with this week's Dr. Woodson quote. And now I'll go ahead and share my screen for you as well.
Okay, good. Okay, scroll down to number 5. I think that's the one thank you. So number 5 is real education means to inspire people to live more abundantly, to learn to begin with life as they find it and make it better. But the instruction so far given Negroes in college and universities has worked to the contrary. In most cases, such graduates have merely increased the number of malcontents who offer no program for changing the undesirable conditions about which they complain. One should rely upon protest only when it is supported by a constructive program. So what this pretty much means to me is that, you have all of these educated people who are trying to lead us and to tell us, the Congressional Black Caucus, all of these educated people, and we're just blindly basically following them, and I just take from this that sometimes we have to think outside the box, basically, and find our own path.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think we become real, I wouldn't say reliant, but just thinking that, once we go to college or go to university, that's just going to be the end all be all for us.
Right.
In regards to like, okay, now we've made it, but actually not putting in any work like that paper is supposed to validate us in any adventures that we want to partake in. So no, I definitely agree with that.
It's like we just confine ourselves to this box.
Correct. And I definitely like that last part too. Protest only when it is supported by a constructive program. So don't protest when you have nothing to actually fall back on for yourself. Like protest and then say, okay, we're gonna protest and we're gonna actually now switch or transfer our energy, our monies, our resources towards this other program that's going to be more beneficial for us, type of thing.
Yeah.
Next, we'll have Chief Alligator with this week's legal definitions and maroon historical points.
Okay, legal definitions. First definition, American, indigenous to America. Second definition, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. 4th, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. 5th definition, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. 6th definition, education and enlightening experience. And 7th definition, recovery, a return to normal state of health, mind, or strength, the action or process of regaining possession of something stolen or lost. And the 5 maroon points: 1 was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. 2nd, providing unity and a strong defense came first. 3rd, maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. 4, maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks and thick grass. 5, maroons knew their enemy's language, defenses, and plans.
All right. And before we jump into the 1964 readings, just wanted to give an update in regards to the Tyree Nichols situation. It has been 3 weeks. And again, this Congressional Black Caucus has not introduced any type of law into Congress to even attempt to get passed. Again, just comparing and contrasting with the Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus. 1 week after the shooting at the massage parlor, they were actually introduced, or they introduced law into the Congress. And 2 months after that, that law or that introduction was actually passed by the president and into law. So again, these useless people that we have representing us, still again, 3 weeks after the video, not even the murder, after the video was dropped, nothing has been passed, nothing has been introduced, nothing has even been, for all we know, written to even have this attempted to be brought into Congress and made law. So again, we definitely need to continue to focus on that, because without it, again, we're going to be seeing more and more murders of our people, and we have yet to see this not be the case every fiscal quarter. I think there's already been one with, I think there was something regarding a cop in California shooting an unarmed Black man. So again, just the same story, different character. And until something actually is done, especially when it comes to our people that's supposed to be representing us within this Congress, and we're going to keep seeing the same story repeat itself.
Can you bring attention to the one in Mississippi? They're not really putting it on the news right now. I believe his name is Michael Cooper. Michael Cooper was in Rankin, Mississippi, and he died around the same time that Tyree Nichols' video of his murder dropped. But this video, I always said you can't come back from George Floyd. This video is actually worse than George Floyd, because they handcuffed him, they tortured him for like 2 hours, they raped him, all while handcuffed, threw eggs at him and somebody else for over 2 hours, tased him in that 2-hour period, and then finally put a gun in his mouth and tried to blow his brains out, but he didn't die. He's in ICU in Mississippi. Wow. And the only reason his mother was able to see him was due to social media and the word getting out So now I believe Malik Shabazz has picked up that case, not Attorney Crump. But that's just something that we have to do when you're talking about rallying for your people, is regardless whether the Jewish media promotes what happens to us. When this situation gets out, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory that if you thought George Floyd was the worst, Michael Cooper in Mississippi is actually the worst scenario. Of course, those European officers have not been fired. You already know their standard protocol. They're going to get suspended with pay, and they're going to do an internal investigation the same way they did with Martin Luther King, with the FBI, and all the other countless murders. So we're just on the merry-go-round, and until we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, there'll be more torture situations captured on video. And I'll go ahead and just wanted to bring light to him.
And I'm wondering if there's going to be any difference to how it's handled, being it's not Ben Crump and it's Malik Shabazz, you said?
Something to keep an eye on, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, there's no reason to fuck a man that's handcuffed and you tasing him to death. So it's just medieval. It's just medieval. But we put the lynchings on the community post page. Those were our grandparents. You got to keep that in mind when we drop those lynchings of community posts. That would be our grandparents when they were in their life. So there's no excuse to shoot a man in the mouth, fuck him, make him give you head, beat you for 2 hours, tase you, handcuff you, and the sheriff department is surrounding the hospital, the room in the hospital which he's in, because he was supposed to die. So the same sheriff department that tortured you is watching you right now.
Right.
So y'all definitely keep an eye on that, because what's next? Burning the nigga alive at the stake? I'll stop right now.
Pretty much. There is no limits to it at this point. There are no limits. Share my screen real quick. And I think last week we left off, definitely on page 23. I want to say it was here. So I'll jump right into it. Any employer, employment agency, labor organization, or joint labor management committee which believes that the application to it of any regulation or other issued under this section would result in undue hardship may apply to the commission for an exemption from the application of such regulation or order, or bring a civil action in the United States District Court for the district where such records are kept. If the commission or the court, as the case may be, finds that the application of the regulation or order to the employer, employment agency, or labor organization in question would impose an undue hardship, the commission or the court, as the case may be, may grant appropriate relief. So basically another example of their procedures. This one is showing basically believing, what did it say? Employer, employment agency, or labor organization being able to file for exemption. So basically being able to be exempt from what we're talking about within this section, which is the equal employment opportunity. Jump down to subsection D. The provisions of subsection C shall not apply to any employer, employment agency, labor organization, or joint labor management committee with respect to matters occurring in any state or political subdivision thereof, which has a fair employment practice law during any period in which such employer, employment agency, labor organization, or joint labor management committee is subject to such law, except that the commission may require such notations on records which such employer, employment agency, labor organization, or joint labor management committee keeps or is required to keep as are necessary because of differences in coverage or methods of enforcement between the state or local law and the provisions in this title, where an employer is required by Executive Order 10925 issued March 6, 1961, or by any other executive order prescribing fair employment practices for government contractors and subcontractors, or by rules or regulations issued thereunto or thereunder, to file reports relating to his employment practices with any federal agency or committee, and he is substantially in compliance with such requirements, The commission shall not require him to file additional reports pursuant to subsection C of this section. So a lot there, but basically it sounds like they are not able to get any type of exempt status when it comes to any state or federal laws. I'm seeing here state or political subdivision thereof, basically any laws that have already been established within that state or federally, they are not able to get exempt if it's going to be something that's going to contradict any of those laws. And that's what I'm pretty much getting here.
It's pretty much clear.
Let me see here. Subsection E, it shall be unlawful for any officer or employee of the commission to make public in any manner whatever any information obtained by the commission pursuant to its authority under this section prior to the institution of any proceeding under this title involving such information. Any officer or employee of the commission who shall make public in any manner whatever information in violation of this subsection shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction thereof shall be fined not more than $1,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year. But basically, if we catch you, if you are working for these commissions, if we catch you sneaking or giving information to the public or leaking information to the public, and we catch you, you will be, there's a fine up to $1,000 or imprisonment. And that will be a misdemeanor charge as well. But then again, going back to who are part of or who are the employees of this commission, that will be the question we would have to ask. That's going to be more than likely your Europeans, not the Americans, anything like that. So these are the punishments that will more than likely be for them. Investigatory powers, we got section 710 for the purposes of any investigation of a charge filed under the authority contained in section 706. The commission shall have authority to examine witnesses under oath and to require the production of documentary evidence relevant or material to the charge under investigation. If the respondent named in a charge filed under section 706 fails or refuses to comply with a demand of the commission for permission to examine or to copy evidence in conformity with the provisions of section 709, or if any person required to comply with the provisions of section 709 or fails or refuses to do so, or if any person fails or refuses to comply with a demand by the commission to give testimony under oath, the United States District Court for the district in which such person is found, resides, or transacts business shall, upon application of the commission, have jurisdiction to issue to such person an order requiring him to comply with the provisions of section 709, or D, or to comply with the demand of the commission, but the attendance of a witness may not be required outside the state where he is found, resides, or transacts business, and the production of evidence may not be required outside the state where such evidence is kept. So again, some more procedures here, but it sounds to me that, what is it saying here? That basically if you are in that state and if you are pretty much conducting any business, because again, we're still talking about the equal employment opportunity. If you're conducting any business within that state, you will be sworn under oath to comply with any of the actions that are trying to be transacted by the commission here. But if you are out of state and these offenses are done out of another state, you won't be required to pretty much be in attendance. That's what I'm seeing here, as far as whether it be a witness or anything other than that.
Yeah, they're kind of giving judicial powers like it's its own little kangaroo court. And if you don't want to comply with the commission, they can submit a request to the federal district court that you fall under in that section. So yeah, they're giving them powers kind of like a kangaroo court. Got you.
Subsection C, within 20 days after the service upon any person charged under section 706 of a demand by the commission for the production of documentary evidence or for permission to examine or to copy evidence in conformity with the provisions of section 709, such person may file in the District Court of the United States for the judicial district in which he resides, is found, or transacts business, and serve upon the commission a petition for an order of such court modifying or setting aside such demand. The time allowed for compliance with the demand in whole or in part as deemed proper and ordered by the court shall not run during the pendency of such petition in the court. Such petition shall specify each ground upon which the petitioner relies in seeking such relief and may be based upon any failure of such demand to comply with the provisions of this title or with the limitations generally applicable to compulsory process or upon any constitutional or other legal right or privilege of such person. No objection which is not raised by such a petition may be urged in the defense to a proceeding initiated by the commission under subsection B for enforcement of such a demand unless such proceeding is commenced by the commission prior to the expiration of the 20-day period, or unless the court determines that the defendant could not reasonably have been aware of the availability of such ground of objection. So again, more procedures, giving them a 20-day period to pretty much abide by or petition to show up to these courts.
Or to the commission. And then if 20 days expires, you can go over the commission and go to the federal district court in your jurisdiction.
Gotcha. Gotcha. This last section here, in any proceeding brought by the commission under subsection B, except as provided in subsection C of this section, the defendant may petition the court for an order modifying or setting aside the demand of the commission.
So the federal district court supersedes the commission, basically.
Makes sense. Makes sense. The hierarchy. We have here notices to be posted. Section 711. Every employer, employment agency, and labor organization, as the case may be, shall post and keep posted in conspicuous places upon its premises where notices of employees, applicants for employment, and members are customarily posted a notice to be prepared or approved by the commission, setting forth excerpts from or summaries of the pertinent provisions of this title and information pertinent to the filing of a complaint. So basically, when you're walking in these buildings that are non-exempt from the equal employment opportunity, they have to have these pretty much the most pertinent or most important information posted visibly for the employer, for the employees, for anybody trying to become an employee. Basically,
they still have that today too. When you go into the break room, you know, they have to have those posters on the wall and things like that.
Great example, great example. And that's basically just for easy visibility. And I'm guessing for any time the commission needs to just have random checkups, they'll be able to see that. B, a willful violation of this section shall be punishable by a fine not more than $100 for each separate offense. Veterans preference, section 712, nothing contained in this title shall be construed to repeal or modify any federal, state, territorial, or local law creating special rights or preferences for veterans. Rules and regulations, section 713, the commission shall have authority from time to time to issue, amend, or rescind suitable procedural regulations to carry out the provisions of this title. Regulations issued under this section shall be in conformity with the standards and limitations of the Administrative Procedure Act. Subsection B, in any action or proceeding based on any alleged unlawful employment practice, no person shall be subject to any liability or punishment for or on account of the commission by such person of an unlawful employment practice if he pleads and proves that the act or omission complained of was in good faith, in conformity with, and in reliance on any written interpretation or opinion of the commission, or the failure of such person to publish to file any information required by any provision of this title, if he pleads and proves that he failed to publish and file such information in good faith, in conformity with the instructions of the commission issued under this title regarding the filing of such information. So right there, it just sounds like a escape clause. Basically, if we deem you to be doing this in good faith, like basically an accident, then you won't be held accountable. That's what it sounds like to me in that section, subsection B, that 1 and 2. Any thoughts on that? Or am I reading that a little wrong there?
Well, all you gotta do is look around your local neighborhood and look at all your small businesses from your nail salons to your corner stores. And you can see how well this commission is actually operating. I'm going to say probably 7 out of 10 of these immigrants that work in these small businesses that's in our neighborhoods, I'm going to say these people are citizens.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree too.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, we don't know the rules to the game, so we don't even know. We could be playing an intellectual game. We could be getting the federal government involved with the small businesses that have all these immigrants working in them, i.e. your gas stations. They control the whole oil business, America, but your eyes are closed to it because 8 out of 10 gas stations you go to are run by Hindus or people from India. But that goes over your head because you've been conditioned to just see that now.
Right.
So they have a corner on that whole market.
Yeah.
And then the Asians have the hair care products and the nail salons. So what would happen if the women did anonymous calls to the commission and had them bum rush them nail salons and make them see how many people are citizens? Normally only 2 people in there speak English. Everybody else can only speak their language. So
yeah, that's true.
Shit written up, but you can see the system is broken.
That's kind of going back to
we're aware of the system, so we don't even know it's broken.
I was about to say that too, going back to Chief Quietwater stated earlier, like you'll still see that today in regards to the most pertinent or most important information being plastered on your break rooms or even right when you walk into a establishment. But how often have we noticed that in gas stations or nail salons?
You're right. That's absolutely right. And now that we know, will we challenge it? You know what I'm saying? In regards to the nail salons and the beauty supply stores and things like that, because I am quite sure they do not go by these rules and regulations, but it's the lack of knowledge and the ignorance on our behalf that we don't know this information.
Great point. And like you just said, now that we know, we can no longer claim ignorance as an excuse.
Right, true.
And now, since we know this is their procedure, this is what's going down, if we do make that call and it's not, or are you willing to make that call, or are you looking at yourself, okay, now am I snitching? Based off of your
We shouldn't care about that at this point.
Exactly. Based off of your law, this is supposed to be happening.
Right.
And what are these people, going back to our 12 steps? What are their positions on reparations?
Right.
If you really trying to repair us, cool. We ain't gonna make
exactly.
No. If not, we finna make this call. Plain and simple. But no, definitely great points in regards to that. I'll continue here. Such a defense, if established, shall be a bar to the action or proceeding, notwithstanding that after such act or omission, such interpretation or opinion is modified or rescinded or is determined by judicial authority to be invalid or of no legal effect, or after publishing or filing the description in annual reports, such publication or filing is determined by judicial authority not to be in conformity with the requirements of this title. Let's see here, forcibly resisting the commission or its representatives, section 714, the provisions of section 11 or 111, title 18, United States Code shall apply to officers, agents, and employees of the commission in the performance of their official duties. Special study by Secretary of Labor, section 715, the Secretary of Labor shall make a full and complete study of the factors which might tend to result in discrimination in employment because of age and of the consequences of such discrimination on the economy and individual affected. The Secretary of Labor shall make a report to the Congress not later than June 30th, 1965, containing the results of such study and shall include in such report such recommendations for legislation to prevent arbitrary discrimination in employment because of age as he determines advisable. I kind of want to stop there before I continue. Where we at on 25? Because while looking up, just to bring this full circle and bring it up to date and why this is so important. While looking to see if the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, introduced any law, I did see that there was a law introduced to amend Section 7, or Title 7 rather, of the Civil Rights Act that we're reading right now. So just to kind of bring it full circle, everything that we've been reading from Title 7, which I believe this is exactly it, which is an equal employment opportunity, they are trying to amend. So going back to what Chief Alligator stated, Chief Quietwater stated, how many of these local businesses ran by non-Americans are actually following any of these equal employment opportunities or are even citizens, and now they're trying to amend this whole title. But let me just double check that. Yeah, Title 7, equal employment opportunity. So this is what they amended.
Perfect timing.
They introduced this last week. With this week, I want to say it might have been on Valentine's Day. And I'll pull it up just so everybody can see it, because you know we like to provide the proof. But yeah, they're trying to amend Title 7 of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So we're doing this for a reason. Like, we didn't, before me looking into, you know, if anything was introduced from our representatives that's supposed to be representing us in this government, I wouldn't have known that they were trying to amend this whole section. And as you can see, this is from page 13, and pretty much probably is going to continue to the end of this actual act. Because we're on page 25 now, and I haven't seen the Title 8 or anything like that. So all of this that we have been reading is a part of Title 7. So just keeping in mind and how important it is to know these rules to the game, because we obviously see that they're trying to switch it up, and it's for good reason. So you can't make.
Does it specifically say what they're trying to amend, or the language? Really? Wow.
I think it's the whole title, but I'll definitely double check that. If anybody wants to pick up here on the effective date, I'll definitely look at, yeah, because this is Title 8 here. So
okay, I can pick it up.
Everything. Okay.
Let me make one statement on what you just read, because what it shows is where we are as a group of people. We should know this by heart, like the back of our hand. We should all know Title 7 of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, because this document, even though it did not specifically cite to the Negro, Black, or color that was under Jim Crow laws in the South via the states, this document is what gives the world access to be U.S. citizens. So this is just a litmus test or a barometer for us as a group of people. Most people do not know what Title 7 is, let alone what the 1964 Civil Rights Act. What titles do we stand on today? Equal opportunity, the voting rights, all of this comes under this document, and 9 out of 10 of us have no clue. So this is another reason why we fail. These documents should be just as important as that Bible. The same way you get indoctrinated with that Bible at an early age, we should be getting indoctrinated about the history of this government and when did it include us, because this really exposes the lie. If the story goes in school that you were freed in 1865 and you became citizens, what the fuck was the purpose of the 1964 Civil Rights Act then?
Right.
The lie ain't adding up.
Right. Okay, section 716, this title shall become effective 1 year after the date of its enactment, notwithstanding subsection A, sections of this title other than section 703, 704, 706, and 707 shall become effective immediately. C, the president shall, as soon as feasible after the enactment of this title, convene one or more conferences for the purpose of enabling the leaders of groups whose members will be affected by this title to become familiar with the rights afforded and obligations imposed by its provisions, and for the purpose of making plans which will result in the fair and effective administration of this title when all of its provisions become effective. The president shall invite the participation in such conference and conferences of 1, members of the president's committee on the equal employment opportunity, 2, the members of the Commission on Civil Rights. 3, representatives of state and local agencies engaged in furthering equal employment opportunity. 4, representatives of private agencies engaged in furthering equal employment opportunity. And 5, representatives of employers, labor organizations, and employment agencies who will be subject to this title. So basically it's providing notice to the employers to pretty much get their stuff together so that they know what is to come from, I guess the title.
Yeah, from this whole, I guess.
Okay.
This title.
I like that first sentence in subsection C, because I just spoke about this. The president shall, as soon as feasible after the enactment of this title, convene one or more conferences for the purpose of enabling the leaders of groups whose members will be affected by this title to become familiar with the rights afforded and obligations imposed by its provisions. Your organizations are supposed to be learning facilities. What organizations are educating us on?
So basically, this is saying that there should be some meetings and conferences prior to this being put in order to educate your people.
Yeah.
Whoever you're representing, basically.
Our whole life, these organizations that fancy themselves to represent us, they're supposed to be educating the people of their community. They're going to these conferences.
About this too.
Right. They're going to a conference. They're doing these luncheons with the president. But there's a liaison missing between getting the information from the government and bringing it back to the people. That's how we've been dumbed down.
Right.
I'm just curious, if you pose a question in the chat or for anybody watching this video, when have you ever read the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Prior to this, you were Jim Crow. We give a damn about your status. We give a damn whether you got an ID that say Moorish or Indian or Cherokee. If you were a person of color, you could not go in European establishments under Jim Crow. How many people have this document and have read it? It is directly linked to your less military occupation under this government. That's how important it is, but we don't know it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, this particular, I mean, I've heard of it, but reading it line for line, paragraph for paragraph, never. I've never read it, never thought about it or anything like that. So
I would not have known. I would not have known equal employment opportunity was even part of this whole civil
right.
The narrative, and again, I gotta take accountability for myself, just taking somebody's word. Civil rights are all about getting your group rights. And none of this shit that we've read has pertained to our group. At all.
Well, it pertains to us, but not specifically.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how does one even make that connection? Like, okay, yeah, this is going to be beneficial to us when, like you just stated, we were just dealing with Jim Crow laws.
Right.
It's specifically targeted to us. If I'm reading this, I'm like, this ain't got shit to do with us. Yeah, I'm seeing all of these entities, persons, race, national origin, persons, race, and national origin wasn't getting their ass beat, wasn't getting their ass killed, wasn't getting their ass told that they couldn't eat in certain establishments. But the Negro and the colored was. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, y'all need to take this shit back to the drawing board, because if this is supposed to stop that, y'all niggas trying to make a damn escape clause, because this has nothing to do with that.
Every document we read definitely had a back door to it for them to escape.
And I did pull up, I did find that that actual introduction that's supposed to be amending this. So before we jump into Title 8, I did want to kind of pull that up. I dropped it in the chat too for you to post for the viewers as well. Okay. I want to have these links. So you asked, what portion or part were they trying to amend? To me, it looks like damn near everything. So it says here to amend The title, to amend Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to require the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to approve commencing, intervening in, or participating in certain litigation and for other purposes. I believe anytime we see that and for other purposes, that's pretty much like a catch-all. So anything that we want to say wasn't expressed or explicitly stated, we're going to be able to put it in here based off of that for other purposes language. Now, they don't have the actual text. If we do click on this, it'll say basically somehow it might take longer than a few days to actually get that text. So it says here, as of 19, text has not been received for HR 1054 to amend Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to require the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to approve commencing, intervening, or participating in certain litigation and for other purposes. Bills are generally sent to the Library of Congress from GPO, the government publishing office, a day or two after they are introduced on the floor of the House or Senate. Delays can occur when there are a large number of bills to prepare or when a large bill has to be printed. So again, this was introduced. Let's see here. Yep, on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Right, but explain, if you go back to what you just read, we got to understand what they're actually doing. So the federal district court is over the federal commission of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Based on what you just read, this amendment is trying to give that commission certain access when it goes over their head to the federal district court. Because you're saying to amend Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to require the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to approve commencing, intervening in, or participating in certain litigation. Certain litigation you can't participate in because it's at the federal district court level. So it sounds like they're trying to give that commission a little bit more power.
Correct. Yeah, trying to amend that and to require, to approve that, So yeah, I see what you're saying, trying to give the commission more power than the actual federal government. So like you just stated, what we was reading, they kept on saying federal government supersedes all of the appeals and things like that. So now
federal district court.
District court, correct.
Oh.
Okay.
So this comes up under the judiciary branch.
Great point there, great point.
But the fact that we as adults, the kids are going to follow us, the fact that we're doing it now, but this is just showing why we're losing when we all look at ourselves in the mirror. Most of the adults, we do not know the documents that pertain to our brutality. The only reason that you're not hung in downtown square of any city in the South is directly linked to this document. Yeah, everybody benefited from it around the world. We kind of just rode the wave of that, but it also shows our juvenile mentality, because why would you want to be a part of a government that has been waging unlawful wars on you?
Right.
And it's still benign and neglecting you 60 years later. You're still being benign and neglected.
Just in your face.
Yeah.
No sugarcoating, no nothing.
Yeah, it will not do a police reform act for this group of people.
At all.
It will not do it. And what we're showing is you can't do it because we were never cited to specific. It's like we're implying the law applies to us because nowhere in this document does it say Negro, Black, and colored. So,
right.
So when it says all persons,
all
citizens, so we went from being non-citizen in 1963 to like, where is the document that our grandparents signed that said that they became United States citizens?
Right.
Y'all understand? How do we go from Jim Crow to all of a sudden we're citizens? Is
it don't make sense. It just doesn't make any kind of sense.
Like I'm sure when you go through immigration, if you're an immigrant, there's some type of document that they get, after certain tests.
It's a whole, you have to swear yourself in and sign right then and there in front of witnesses.
Yeah.
So what document do our grandparents have in our family to say
Yeah,
This the-
this is
don't have
that shit. That shit would be like a damn diploma hanging up on your damn fireplace. Like, yeah, this is when we finally became citizens. Nah, but like you said, yeah, we don't have that.
Oh gosh.
That's a
So
great.
how are we? So how?
That's a great.
We're
point.
delusional. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
really delusional, to be honest with you, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It
Well,
literally doesn't exist.
it's implied, like you
It's
said.
implied, but we will swear to
Damn.
the whole holy Jesus that we're included.
And it's like you said, it's really mental because we know the definition, at least their definition of a person is goddamn anything.
right.
So we
Right.
going along with, well, they said anything. So I mean, I guess this damn Glasses case can be a person if it wanted to be. We got to give that respect. So it's like, damn, they really got us, fucked up in the matrix too.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
It's
The lie is not adding up. So if we go by the lie, we became citizens in 1865.
Mhm.
They told us there was a war called the Civil War, and you were the slave and you were freed and you became a citizen. Okay. What based on what document?
Mhm.
They'll say, oh, what, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Then you read those amendments. Well, damn, I don't see nothing citing to Indians that didn't move into Oklahoma Territory or Negro, black, or color. We don't see anything that coincides with United States government history at that time. Because if you're going to add our group of people are the people that did not go into Oklahoma.
Mhm.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you say slavery is abolished except in punishment of a crime.
right.
Slavery is abolished except in punishment of a crime. You didn't abolish slavery.
Facts.
All you did was move it to the criminal system.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's okay to be enslaved if you punished for a crime.
Then you make laws called Jim Crow laws, where if you break them, now you're what? You're breaking the law. So now you can become said slave.
Right, but just like you have to get a driver's license, I'm just asking a common sense question. Where is the document that we all can hold on to and say, oh, okay, here's where we became citizens? I guess it's this act.
Right.
But if it's this act, then what the fuck was the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment for? Because you said that made us citizens. So their lives aren't adding up. And what we're showing is you're prisoners of war. Because you got a black caucus, but members of that caucus, are you black and Afro-American? What the fuck is an Afro-American if it's a black congressional caucus?
In the same sentence.
Again, delusional.
How are you calling me an Afro-American, but you got a federal recognized black caucus? So the question is, who the fuck is the black that you represent?
Right.
Are you saying that the word black is a lineage and is tied to the people that were under Jim Crow prior to being made citizens?
But that can be interchangeable and it can be changed and disposable at any given moment. As much as we've been reclassified and continue to be reclassified, now we're people of color.
Right. So we just need to ask that common sense question to the Black Congressional Caucus. Who the fuck is black?
Yeah.
Because you'll say black in one moment, then you'll say Afro-American, and then you'll say you represent all people. What
the fuck is black then? What is the definition? Yeah, we gotta set a baseline definition of what this word black means, because you're throwing out all kind of shit. So black means African American and all minorities. Like, what is your what are we saying?
Yeah, so what the United States government really did was it said black will be anybody that has melanin. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we'll put all of y'all under this caucus. Because the Asians got their own caucus, the Hispanic got their own caucus. So this black caucus, anybody who is not a part of the 5 civilized tribes that we declassified when we were waging unlawful war, we're going to put you up under this. But where they fucked up at is they've never specifically cited to us as Negro, Black, and color at the federal level. That's what we're showing. We've never been that, those groups really don't exist at the federal level. They can say it out their mouth, or president can say the Black Americans, but where is that in writing? You have nothing Black American.
Right.
So
that really can't even be implied either. So even implying is delusional.
But yet we have a whole caucus with that name. As Chief Akivaline would say, the Congressional Dead Caucus. They damn near they ain't worthless. They ain't not doing anything, and they're representing no person.
Right, exactly.
Underneath this government.
Okay, so I'll start on Title 8. Registration and voting statistics. Section 801, the Secretary of Commerce shall promptly conduct a survey to compile registration and voting statistics in such geographic areas as may be recommended by the Commission on the Civil Rights. Such a survey and compilation shall, to the extent recommended by the Commission on Civil Rights, only include a count of persons of voting age by race, color, and national origin, and determination of the extent to which such persons are registered to vote and have voted in any statewide primary or general election in which the members of the United States House of Representatives are nominated or elected since January 1, 1960. Such information shall also be collected and compiled in connection with the 19th decennial census and at such other times as the Congress may prescribe. The provision of Section 9 and Chapter 7 of Title 13, United States Code shall apply to any survey, collection, or compilation of registration and voting statistics carried out under this title, provided, however, that no person shall be compelled to disclose his race, color, national origin, or question about his political party affiliation, how he voted, or the reasons therefor. Nor shall any penalty be imposed for his failure or refusal to make such a disclosure. Every person interrogated orally, by written survey or questionnaire, or by any other means with respect to such information shall be fully advised with respect to his right to fail or refuse to furnish such information. So I guess this is like the rules for registering to vote and what they can and can't ask you to disclose, basically.
And what kind of account were they really going to keep back then? This was before the information age, so everything is basically in file cabinets. So people are telling you, you don't have to tell them what your nationality and all of these things are, but realistically, how was that going to work when you try to apply it? Because I think the data 1960.
1960.
So were our grandparents going down to the district area to try to register to vote back then?
No.
You know, and it's interesting when I think back with my grandparents, the only thing they really said about Europeans is don't trust them. Like when I think back to that generation, they didn't fuck with them. I'm learning more now about why they didn't when you look at Jim Crow and all this and that. But yeah, it's that generation, they pretty much had nothing to do with them. Right. So were they really going down there trying to be a part of this, or was it the kids, which would be my parents' generation?
Yeah. I think that's where the transition took place, is the generation before us, our parents, like you said, wanting to be included more. Because like, yeah, right. Why would our grandparents want to be a part of it?
They've seen the horrors and shit like that. And that's a common theme, or something that's continues to be reiterated to this day. Go after the kids.
Yeah.
Go after the children. We know the adults are the lost cause, so we even see it now with this whole, gay agenda. Go after the kids. Everything you see now in these children movies and children films has something to do with some type of has to have some type of gay character in it. And we look back into, what was it, the 40 Acres and a Mule, when we was reading that document in general serving. What did he say? Make sure you get the youthful and able-bodied. We have to persuade them to enlist into our armed services in their youth. So it's like we're seeing the common trend, and yeah, this would be, like you said, our parents go ahead and make sure that they're the ones we can get indoctrinated into this system.
Right.
And it really is, it's almost like a barometer test by the government, because every time that they tell us to move forward, my generation and your generation, Chief Biko, it's almost like a litmus test to see, have we disconnected the history from what happened to their grandparents? See, every time that we want to just move forward, we have to remember that when we show these lynching images, that's your grandparent.
Right.
Yeah.
Our grandparents was in their 20s and 30s in the 1960s. So what we're really saying is fuck our grandparents.
That's old history.
You feel what I'm saying? When we're willing to just move forward and just say, hey, we're just all, you know, one big happy family. Let's bring the immigrants in on it. But when you go strictly by your family and your bloodline, it's very clear who would be Black under the Black caucus. If your family, if your grandparents weren't on this land, this don't pertain.
Right.
That's going to take about 90% of immigrants. 90% of your Jamaicans, Haitians, Bahamians, most of them people came after the 1970s.
After this was established.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's the disconnect when we're looking at lynching or we're looking at Ku Klux Klan. It's like a disconnect with us. We're not realizing that's our grandparents.
Damn, that's a great point.
Yeah, it wasn't that far that long ago.
Not at all. They've been able to compartmentalize each generation.
Exactly.
This is where your history starts. 32 or 20 to 30-year-old. This is where your history starts. 40 to 50.
Right.
This is where your history starts. You see what I'm saying? So they've been able to compartmentalize it and then come with different attacks for each group, each set.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like,
and what they're trying to do now is just wipe it all away with the
all of the history now.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do now.
Race theory and shit. So yeah, and like you said, if you sit by idly and go with it, then game over.
Yeah.
We're going along because we don't know this. As simple as it sounds, we don't. So shout out to everybody that's doing this, because this is how they're able to run game. You don't know your history, so we can tell you anything. We could even be having a gay discussion or an immigrant discussion, because if we knew history, we'd say, okay, we can just do a test. How many people's grandparents were on this land during the Civil Rights era? You'd be surprised how many melanated immigrants would just automatically separate themselves.
Right.
So this ain't got nothing to do with you. Seniority matters. We were here before whatever kind of discrimination that y'all are talking about. Our claim supersedes that. But like you said, we're not taught in school. It's a military brain operation. Are we gonna finish this section that you're reading, Chief Quietwater?
Sure. I think she finished what, 8?
Yeah.
Maybe on
okay.
9.
We coming up on the hour. Do you want to hit them with Article 1, Section 10 about the money? Just to always drill home with those images, just to remind people that.
Yeah, we can.
That's fine.
It's all mental at this point. We have faith in something that has no money and has never specifically included you.
And thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. Thanks for joining in.
For sure. We getting through it, y'all, but we're seeing the importance of knowing this information. Like, we literally just showed something that happened this week that is exactly what we're reading about, like them trying to amend a specific title that we literally just got through reading today. So we're seeing that this is, we need to know this information. We need to all know this information because it's pertaining to us some way or another. Like we all stated, like our grandparents was going through Jim Crow. They were the ones getting lynched, beat, killed. And now it just seems like we're compartmentalized again with these different, each generation. And it's a new threat, but again, holistically, we're the ones that's actually being warred upon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Check
check the messages out, Chief Biko, within the Zoom. And when we're bringing up this Congressional Black Caucus and the Tyree Nichols case, all we're really trying to show y'all is we get it. We all know that Black is not a thing. That we get that. So anybody who's rocking with us or doing this study with us, we understand that. But what we're exposing now is once enough of us understand that Black is not a thing, now you got to look at your Black Congressional Caucus and realize it cannot do anything for you. That's the only reason why we're keeping track of, hey, it's been 3 weeks, right? So y'all can promote the video dropping 3 Fridays ago. The world stopped to watch this man get beat to death. But you motherfuckers are so sorry in the Congressional Black Caucus, you can't even type up legislation and present it in the House to get voted on. You're supposed to, when I say you're, I'm talking about us, the people that are grown adults that have kids or grown adults. They have such little respect for our understanding of the government that once you saw that State of the Union, once you saw that murder, you were supposed to feel like, well, Joe Biden's at least made the family stand up for 15 seconds. That's better than nothing. But they never entered anything to change law for people who look like you. And we're saying that that's a problem because that means that the police can continue to wage unlawful war against us. That's the only reason why we bring it to your attention. That means there's going to be another murder that's going to be aired, and we're just exposing the dog and pony show. If you've ever been through a court process, you're going to have the document saved on a jump drive. It's called a template. So you can always go back to it and you can just add different language to it and submit it for a different situation. The fact that these people can't even file anything for us means there's not even a template where they've done anything for us. So we're really just exposing the hypocrisy of the Congressional Black Caucus, which is the oldest and the largest caucus. So you've been in business longer than the Asian and the Latino caucus, and you the sorriest, and you got the most members.
It's the only damn thing they made statements on was, again, let's just go ahead and look through this and read the damn press statement. Thank you, President Biden. The family of Tyree Nichols and the CBC asked President Biden to use the State of the Union to speak to the nation and to call for passage of meaningful public safety and accountability reforms for all communities. First mistake, who the fuck is being targeted? All communities wasn't being killed in the time. Right. It was our community, the American. And he met the moment. Again, the standard is so fucking low for this group, it don't make no damn sense. Just for you to speak upon it, we gonna applaud you and say thank you, Master. Like, come on, y'all. President Biden elevated Tyree Nichols' story and tapped into the spirit of all Americans who are calling for accountability, transparency, and standards in policing. The CBC agrees with the president that public safety depends on public trust. When the trust is violated, they must be held accountable. And we're encouraged that many of our Republican colleagues expressed their support, including Speaker McCarthy. The CBC will continue to build broad support and call on our colleagues in both parties and the House to support House and Senate to work together, as the president suggested, to craft meaningful legislative solutions that will save lives and protect all of our communities. Craft meaningful and legislative solutions, that's supposed to be y'all fucking job.
Right.
Oh, the Congressional Black Caucus. The Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus didn't say we need to get everybody together so we can write this law to protect us. They said, nah, we already got this law. Where is it? Now get this shit passed. Not knowing, let's all brainstorm and think tank. Why would we think tank when our people ain't the ones getting killed? We don't give a fuck about y'all coming up with y'all do the shit. It's affecting you. Why are we putting our brain power and our energy? They shouldn't help these niggas. Write your own laws. It's supposed to be for you. Like, it don't make no damn sense. And this is February 9th.
Go back to that second
Second
paragraph.
sentence.
Wait. Go down to that last sentence in that second paragraph where it says the CBC agrees with the president that public safety depends on public trust. What we're trying to show y'all is it's our consent. See, everything is based off our belief or your trust. How do you trust the government? How do you trust the government that lynched your grandparents?
Okay.
So you got to have trust that this government that has killed you, Jim Crowed you, redlined you, did all of these things to you, you got to have trust in that. When that trust is violated, they must be held accountable, and we're encouraged that many of our Republican colleagues express their support. Motherfucker can tell you anything. What we're saying is you haven't written anything.
What did you just say earlier? Our grandparents didn't trust them.
Right.
So that's what we have to, that's all we're pointing out is the longer that we sit idly by, it shows by doing nothing at all, that shows that we have trust in this same government that is killing you.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got it down to a science where it's like lights, camera, action. And I guess I'm old enough to remember when our parents told us, get from in front of that TV.
Yeah.
So it's like now everything's just an action take. It's like, hey, we're going to do a State of the Union, fly the family up here, make them stand up for 15 seconds, acknowledge them. We're going to talk about everything else. And that ought to satisfy these niggas. And we're cool with it. What is it this week? Is it the NBA All-Star? So you went from a Super Bowl weekend to now you got an NBA All-Star weekend. So they keep you niggas entertained while nothing changes lawfully for you behind the scenes. And that's on the adults. That's on us. The kids are going to follow us. If the parents don't know what the fuck going on, how can we expect the kids to not act out? All the kids are doing are acting out.
Mm-hmm.
They see the murders, they see everything that's going on, and so they're just going to act out. That's what kids do. We're the adults, and we don't even know the structure. We don't even know the rules to this game, how we getting fucked over. These people's phones should be blowing up every day from that time that they aired that video on Friday of Tyree Nichols. That Monday, their phone should be blowing up. Black Congressional Caucus phone should be blowing up when y'all filing something in the House.
Exactly.
But we're not thinking like that. So it's on to the next topic, into the next murder, like this murder in Mississippi. They're trying to suppress it, but when this comes out, it's going to trigger a lot of situations because at the state level, Mississippi is going to protect their own. So what's going to happen when they don't fire those officers or charge them criminally? They tortured that man for hours, handcuffed, fucked him, raped him, beat him, hazed him, and shot one of them in the mouth. And he's barely living right now. Michael Cooper, I think, right?
Yeah.
They surgically remove his tongue. Shot him. First of all, how you shoot a nigga in the mouth on accident? There is no accident for shooting somebody in the mouth. You didn't shoot him in center mass. You shot him in the mouth. That means you put the gun in his mouth. Y'all look that up when y'all get a chance, just to stay aware of that. That I mean, it gets no more medieval than that. Torture the man for hours, and they're basically hoping he's gonna die. If you want to hit them with the money again, repetition is the key to learning, and we'll close it out.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and start here. So section 10 of Article 1, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and repisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So that's the only thing that can be made money. And that is the only thing that can be actually used to pay off any debts. It says here, gold and silver. And again, this is from Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. Now, again, I want to highlight what actual constitutional money should look like. And then again, just show if any of our dollar bills, $5 bills, any denomination you may have in your wallets look like this. So at the very top, it says silver certificate. Even at the very bottom, $5 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. I believe this is either 34 or 54 as far as the series.
Looks like 34.
34.
Mhm.
So 1934, this is what a $5 bill looks like. And as you see, it states here, this $5 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. So you could take this $5 to your bank and say, hey, I would like $5 in silver, and they would be able to give it to you. You do this to your bank now, they're gonna give you a $5 bill back, $5 in ones, what is it? 25 quarters. Shit, whatever your denomination will be, but it will not be in silver. The same thing goes for here. Have some $2, but also $1 bill in the same language. So in silver payable to the bearer on demand, silver certificate. Dollar bills that we have now say what? Federal Reserve note or Federal Reserve Bank, something like that, but it does not state silver certificate. So again, just showing the difference that we're playing by now. And I believe this one says 50, this one may say 57. Kind of hard to read, the series something. Look more so like a 57 here. But again, we know that the gold and silver were taken out in 1971. So all of these would line up as far as those dates. So this one being, whether that is 57 to 37, and this one being 1934. So while the actual money was backed by silver and gold, this is what the notes or certificates look like. And again, what do you do with a certificate? You redeem that.
Right.
So you're able to redeem these certificates, and again, for silver or gold, versus what we're doing with now, playing with monopoly money. So again, just asking the question again, why are we dealing with this system? Why are we still having trust as this Congressional Black Caucus states when they won't even abide by their own system when it comes to their money? So why the hell are we having trust in this system when they don't even abide by their own rules?
Their own, right.
Like, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. You see here, but no, appreciate everybody in the chat. Definitely appreciate you sticking with us. Again, almost through this 1964 Civil Rights Act, and we'll jump into the next one. But yeah, just continue to be patient, continue to engage with us as we walk through this timeline, because we're seeing the importance of it. We're seeing how it's relevant for us to know this information for today as well, as highlighted by both Chief Quietwater and Chief Alligator. So that's it.
I put a link in the back chat in the Zoom. If y'all could drop that link in the chat, and if you could just go to that 22-minute mark real quick and just let the attorney explain what happened to this man. We need to give light to this situation, because this is worse than George Floyd. This could be your cousin, your brother, your son. Just to know that I'm not over exaggerating what they did to this man in Mississippi, who's on life support right now. So we can close out with that. And everybody that's in the chat, y'all just need to just kind of listen to what this attorney is about to say, to what happened to this man in Mississippi. No search warrant, nothing. 2 men in a predominantly European Rankin County rural area in Mississippi. And just listen to what this attorney has found out, what they did to this man. And the Jewish media doesn't want to let it get out, because it's self-explanatory that we're prisoners of war on our own land.
Were you able to drop that there, Chief Quietwater?
Oh, you want me to do it? So I put it in, I pinned it to the
live, okay.
Yes.
Just go to that 22-minute mark on that video. Those that click on that link just goes directly to the 22-minute mark where the attorney representing this man.
Did you want me to do it, Chief Vico? I'm sorry. Or are you doing it?
To drop it in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I did it in the chat, but were you gonna play it?
I'm saying, did you want us to just play it or have them look at? I'm not sure how long the thing is.
Yeah, it's just
Chief
a couple
Ouch.
of, you can just go straight to that point and play it.
Okay.
Chief Vico, so the people can see it.
Came out of Michael's neck, almost killed him. Luckily, he beat repeatedly. We've done a thorough investigation on all of this. After pointing the guns and threatening to kill them in this 90-minute torture melee, one of the deputies put the gun in Michael's mouth and fired, okay? And the bullet came out of Michael's neck, almost killed him. Luckily, he'd be like Tyree Nichols, but he's not. And so therefore—
But his tongue was surgically removed.
His tongue he barely had his tongue, and he had to do all kind of operations. He eats now through a feeding tube. He cannot eat. He eats through liquid through a feeding tube. He has permanent cognitive damage, permanent damage to his eyesight, and other serious injuries as a result of being shot. So the news is not just civil rights violations, is that criminal charges should be imminent. And I think that they are imminent based on Michael's interview that I witnessed with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation.
And they'll lead the investigation, not the county.
No, the Department of Justice has now got involved.
Well, that's federal civil rights violations.
Yeah.
But in terms of the criminal side, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is leading it, but not the Sheriff's Department.
No. It's Mississippi policy that the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation investigates.
Any body camera footage for these sheriff's officers?
There should be, but I can't confirm it right now. Mississippi is notorious for concealing and denying victims the chance to look at the body cam footage. That's going to change.
If this was a drug raid and they were there 90 minutes, why not handcuff them and take them down to the Sheriff's Department and do the investigation there? 90 minutes at the house?
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, if you have an arrestable offense or you have probable cause, Roland, you arrest a person, you take them into custody. Most of these incidents we see, there are rapidly evolving circumstances. They're running, there's resisting, or there's some kind of interaction. This is 90 minutes of intent, of intentionally planned out conduct. I mean, some of it is horrific, then the other parts of it are absolutely juvenile. I went to the house, I'll give you the pictures at some point. They threw eggs at these men for 90 minutes. There's eggs all on the wall. Eggs literally on the wall. They use racial slurs in the course of this. So the Justice Department should be seeking hate crime charges. But and there's even some sexual deviancy in this thing. I mean, I'm talking about attempted sodomy.
So they were accusing them of dating white women?
Well, this is a rural area in Rankin County. Now, Rankin County deputies are notorious for their abuse and murder. So I do want to say that Black Lawyers for Justice is opening up an entire investigation into their department, all of their murders. But in this specific case, they came in without a warrant. These are the only Black men in a 2-mile and basically a 2-mile radius. So the white officers come in saying, basically this is our area, and y'all are not going to be dealing with our women and so forth. So they came in basically saying that y'all are not wanted here, and we run this area. It's very rural, and they're used to getting away with this because most brothers in Mississippi say that once they charge you with something, you better plead guilty, or otherwise you're going to jail for a long time. The problem here, Brother Roland, is that he was shot at the end of this melee. I believe it was intentional that he was shot. And then that's when the cat was out the bag.
Well, shot and survived.
Shot and survived. He was shot in the mouth, and he was in the ICU for a couple of weeks. and he survived. But it was one of the most. This is one of the most outrageous acts of police brutality that I've seen, because I've never seen a organized torture session of this length that Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Terrell Parker faced.
Now, have they filed any charges against Jenkins and Terrell?
They have, but these charges are manufactured, and these charges are going to, I expect all charges to be dropped. Expect all charges to be dropped. They're absolutely manufactured. Originally, the MBI and the police put out a statement that Michael had a gun. Look at what they're saying now. They're not saying anything. They're not saying he had a gun. They're saying they're going to investigate, and if anything's wrong, they're going to take action. The officers are covering up. We have them on the defensive in this hour as attorneys. Myself, Attorney Trent Walker from Mississippi, and my partner Reginald Green out of Atlanta. We have them on the defensive absolutely right now. We're pressing the case. We want these officers jailed. They must be charged not with just negligent homicide. They must be charged with attempted murder. All of them, because nobody intervened. Like in the Nichols case, no one intervened to stop them. Not one officer says this is ridiculous or this is outrageous. No one intervened. Now, we've done a very thorough investigation.
Did they have a warrant?
No warrant. No warrant exists, no warrant presented, no evidence of a warrant.
So the supposed drug raid, but you have no warrant.
That's what they do in Rankin County, Mississippi. They do what they want. Despite the overwhelming tide against police brutality, you would think, well, they would want to be conscious of this. No, but it's a permanent, arrogant mentality that cannot even be rooted out when they see other officers go to jail. This has to be rooted out by these 6 white deputies going to jail. I mean, I want to see them charged and headed to prison the way those Black officers. They should be as hard on these white 6 deputies as they are on the 6 Black officers that were responsible for Nichols' death in Memphis.
Are these officers still on the streets? Are they put on administrative leave?
We don't know their status right now.
So
they're not in jail.
The sheriff hasn't communicated?
The sheriff is now investigating. The sheriff is investigating. The reports are that the deputies are lawyering up. And I can say that the MBI, many people have issues with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. But from what I saw in the interview with Michael and Mr. Terrell, I think that they're doing an honest investigation. And the MBI promised me yesterday that if this is as he says it is, Jenkins and Parker, that if it is as he says it is, then they're going to give them up, because they're saying that they make all cops look bad. And I know that they do.
The family has started a GoFundMe because they have legal fees, they have medical expenses as well, correct?
GoFundMe, yes. GoFundMe is Michael Corey Jenkins on GoFundMe. Michael Corey Jenkins.
Do y'all have it there? Go ahead and pull it up.
On GoFundMe. Michael Corey Jenkins on
Chief Pico. So we just want to close out on this, because what you hear right now is an American attorney talking to a member of the quote unquote Black media. And what you hear is a lot of bullshit excuses about why we're prisoners of war on the land. You just heard that lawyer say that they do what they want in Mississippi. So for those that don't understand jurisprudence or law, the sheriff is the law. The sheriff is the only elected official, and he takes an oath to that state's constitution. He can roam anywhere within that state. That's why he's in your courtrooms. When you get found guilty, it's the bailiff or the sheriff. The sheriff runs the jail. Police officers come up under the mayor. It's policy, they're not law, they're statutory. Sheriff deputies tortured that man for 2 hours. Who throws eggs at somebody while being handcuffed? Who rapes somebody while being handcuffed? Who sodomizes somebody while being handcuffed? And then who ultimately shoots somebody in the mouth? So you a part of this group of people. Do you think them 6 deputies gonna get charged with attempted murder? Do you think there's going to be a thorough investigation? of that sheriff department in Rankin, Mississippi? So I've been saying this since 2020. You can't come back from George Floyd. When they lynched that man for the world to see, and we didn't tear this bitch up continuously and get shit changed. Here we are 3 years later, nothing has changed. And now you see, this is going to be worse. If they air this, what that man is describing, this goes right in line with what we put on the community page, with what our grandparents went through. We're the grandchildren of our grandparents. Ain't shit changed. But we want to fancy ourselves because, you know, with entertainment, Super Bowl, NBA championships, you're being benign and neglected and you're being open right tortured. That's not an Asian man getting tortured like that. That's not a Hispanic man getting tortured like that. That's an American that's being tortured like that. So that's all I wanted to say on that, man. There's no words for it. And the officers have lawyered up and got a GoFundMe account. So if you're not in war, then just look at the behavior of Europeans. There's no level of violence that they can do that they're not going to support their own. We pick and choose who we want to support. Where did he graduate? What did he do? Is he married? Did he get a divorce? Did he beat his wife? You know, we worry about trivial shit with not understanding that we're in a war. Europeans hear that and say, oh, okay, you tortured a nigga? Okay, they trying to press charges on you? All right, how much money you need to defend yourself? They think they're... Anything y'all want to say on that as we close it out? But this is just a reality check for us that your status don't motherfucking matter. You could have a Kentucky Fried Chicken box on your head claiming to be Moorish. That shit don't matter, man. When these people want to come torture you, man, they're going to come torture you. No, for real, we got to get past the bullshit.
Oh, real shit, though. That's real.
People,
yeah, worry about the wrong shit.
You worry about the wrong shit. If your son like European women and he's in a rural town, the man could have just liked European women, but you in the wrong town with that kind of behavior. Why? Police came in your house with no search warrant. Damn, that sound a lot like Breonna Taylor.
Sound like a lot for everyday situation. No knock warrants, all shit, just busting in the wrong house, shoot a nigga. Oh, my bad. Leave, and then, yeah, lawyer up. It was by accident, so yeah.
Same narrative.
Yeah, we got to get past the, like you said, the little shit. They ain't asking you what your damn religious belief is, where you think you come from before they shoot your ass. They just see your skin and we coming after your ass. So no, you definitely absolutely right about that.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, Chief Quietwater, do you think?
I mean, it's the same thing. We just have to see how it's gonna play out. And my thoughts is gonna play out like everything else plays out. They're gonna be set free. Nothing's gonna happen. He ain't die yet.
Yeah. It's just yeah. It's another example.
Sad situation.
Yeah, and there's no justification for torturing somebody for 2 hours with no search warrant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you heard the lawyer say the charges are manufactured, so the charges are going to be dropped. He expect all charges to be dropped. So what was this? It's a gang.
Yeah.
It's a gang. It's as hard as it is to say, and anybody who looks like us that's a part of it. I got family members that's a part of it as well. It still don't change the fact, man, y'all motherfuckers are a gang, bro. Like, y'all really hide behind that badge. Like, y'all can do no wrong. There's no reason to rape. There's no reason to rape the man. Even if you had a valid search warrant from a judge, why are you raping a handcuffed man? And then throwing eggs at him?
That's policing. That's policing. Throwing eggs and raping niggas now? That's
like
shit.
How we get to this point?
Yeah.
This is some Pulp Fiction type shit.
Yeah,
this is like
real shit, like you said.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
God damn.
This nigga to the basement. Like they said, I'm just reading something. They waterboarded his ass. What that mean? You put a cloth over a nigga face and pour water. So now you basically drowning them because you can't breathe.
That's a torture technique. Yeah, you just splashing with the shit. I'm telling you, man. The Jewish media is not releasing this because this is worse than George Floyd. But again, what are we going to do, y'all? Are we going to get in our feelings about it? because we already know with the Tyree Nichols situation, these governors will just activate their National Guard. You're prisoners of war. So this is going to be a good litmus test because Mississippi don't give a fuck. Mississippi not going to press charges on these 6 officers. So it's good that it's getting national attention, but yeah, this may be ground zero for whatever that needs to happen. Because
Hopefully it is, though.
there is no justification for you sodomizing, waterboarding, throwing eggs, handcuffing a man, and then ultimately shooting him in the mouth where they got to surgically remove his tongue. And it's blocking the ICU visiting room. And it's only due to the little coverage that it got that his mom was able to put eyes on him. They wouldn't even let nobody visit him in the hospital. Yeah, playing a real game. So we ain't tripping. This shit is just, it's an alignment with what our grandparents saw. We're seeing it all over again.
Good build tonight.